Pastor Lynn gave me the topic of words. He's given me topics that he thinks I relate to, I guess. So this would be a good one for you. Like, oh, what do I say? Too many things? Too much? I've never said anything stupid before, right, Dad? But that's good, by the way. Somebody known me for a few years, like 33 years. And who said something stupid in this room before? You never raise your hand, you're lying. We're going to talk about that today. I've said a lot of dumb things in my life. I want you to know that. I don't even, can't even count on my fingers. I mean, forever and never, never, never. Parents, friends, people I don't know. I remember when I was in elementary school, it kind of changed over time, but I used to be a talker in school. I always talked during class, and that's one thing teachers always, I remember in elementary school days, the parents were always telling my parents, the teachers were always telling my parents that I was a talker in class. After a while, they got to me, and I stopped talking during class, but then I became this kind of like reserved, quiet kid, and I used that power in a different way. Is like when I didn't agree with what the teacher said, I was like, that's stupid, but I was like a ventriloquist. They never knew who it was, so I was like, I just put my head down, they wouldn't even know. It's like, that's stupid. They're like, who said that? Like, see, it's when they even had to face the board and use a marker or a chalk to write, and they couldn't see who it was. So that when they turned around, they didn't know it was me. I just put my head down. I'm glad nobody told anybody that was me, but it was me. So I did that a lot in class. I remember when we came home from a long vacation, my freshman year of high school football. I was all that, by the way. And I had come to practice late, and I show up. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking much. And we had this coach. The year before, they had not won any games. And he said something like, it's like, I remember saying, I hope we do better than last year, that's for sure. Like, to my head coach, this guy's he's gonna put me in a spot. I just the smart aleck comment saying, well, hopefully we can do better than last year. That was horrible, you know, like what am I thinking? And then one of my comments, now I might have shared this in the past, I'm not sure, I know I have to share it either, but I have a cousin, her name is Katie, and one year I was at church camp, and church camp was really fun, but man, it's exhausting. You just go, go, go. I don't know if I can blame it on this, but I came home, she was there, I hadn't seen her for 3 years, and I still was a big kid, okay, but she asked me a really dangerous question. She asked me how much I thought she weighed. What a trap! Thank goodness, don't ever do that. Mind, please. Don't ask them like how old you know, their age or anything like that. But I guess low. It's smart. I guess low. But then she said her weight, and I said 130. Like, really? Because I didn't believe her, and she slapped me several times. And we were good friends after that for a while, but she reminded me several times I remember she called her fat. So words are powerful. They hurt. They can lift people up. When you got married, you said something, I do, right? You said to people, I love you, but if there's no action behind it, it doesn't mean much. Communication's changed a lot in our lives, even through, I was born in 1984, and things have changed a lot. Now, when I talk about communication and words today, I'm not just talking about face-to-face, because face-to-face is kind of rare these days. It's more it's very distant. I think relationships are very distant and a little different. I was take a quick survey. How many of you guys texted somebody today, or texted somebody this week? Oh, jeez. How many of you made a phone call this week? How many of you texted more than you called somebody on the phone? Communication has changed, but words are still powerful. Facebook seems to become this thing now. It's like, the thing that used to be your diary is now Facebook. Like you used to write here's the secrets in this diary, and now you write them all on Facebook. It's like, people can see all that. Do you really want people to know all that? And it's kind of scary what I see sometimes. When I was a teen, we didn't have Facebook. My youth pastor didn't know what was going on. I wasn't posting, he didn't see that. Now, as a youth pastor, I see things and sometimes I look at this. And I hate to say it. Sometimes I see good posts and I'm like, yeah, you know, but I see too much. And it communicates to me what's going on in their lives. What we say communicates that something's in our heart, what's coming from our heart, what's eternal. We're, like I said, marriage, we said, I do. We say we love each other. And we flip that also. We have words of anger towards people that drive them away, cause fights. We have families. Maybe you're in a family where someone just said something like, we're talking like 20, 30 years ago, they have never forgiven the person, they're still clinging onto that word. You've got family feuds throughout history that they started saying, this said something, or maybe it wasn't even true. Maybe it was a rumor. You know, you heard playing the game telephone, it got distorted. I heard from so-and-so, heard from so-and-so, and it may not even be true. But words, in fact, thinking about teenagers and these days, as bullying's coming into mind, as people, as teens, as young people, and even older people, can't take it anymore. They can't take the words anymore, the negativity, the discouragement, the people, the bullies, the people putting them down. The words control their lives. That brings them down. And close or have died. They have died. They decided it's too much. They can't stand it anymore. Wherever the words that are said to them, they accept them. They put them in their life and say, this is who I am. After you call somebody stupid 100 times, they think you're stupid. Words are powerful. And at the same fact, we flip that, and we're speaking courage and hope to people, which is all Jesus is, by the way. Hope, love, truth. We like to speak, sometimes we speak too much truth and not enough love, and too much love and not enough truth. People are missing out. Hawk Nelson, I couldn't get away with this without mentioning his prior to the song I read called Words by the Hawk Nelson group. These used to be really punk rock, now they're contemporary. But anyways, you don't care. You don't care. They're different. You know, Celia and I were talking about that in class. But I still like them. I love these lyrics. This is like their first hit song. They played this song in Sandusky, and just listen to these lyrics. It's all about words. They made me feel like a prisoner. They made me feel set free. They made me feel like a criminal. Made me feel like a king. They lifted my heart in places that I've never been. And they dragged me down back to where I began. Words can build you up. Words can break you down. Start a fire in your heart or put it out. There's some more lyrics. Let my words be life. Let my words be truth. I don't want to say a word unless it points the world back to you. And then you can heal the heartache, speak over the fear. God, your voice is the only thing we need to hear. And that's where we get to that point, that God's voice would trump everybody else's voice, their words. And we talk about that today in Proverbs. Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death. Those who love it will eat its fruit. Those are probably the strongest things that can go on in life. Life and death. Life and death, that's very strong. It's so powerful. Now when I talk about life, I talk about encouraging words, bringing hope to people, sharing, saying you love them, and backing it up. That's life. And death is discouragement. It's putting people down. It's not being trustworthy with their words. They got a secret to tell you. You can't be trusted because you're a gossip. Maybe you secretly hate somebody. You're slandering their name. Slander destroys people's lives. Some people's reputations are, right now, even in Hollywood, who knows if they're even true, but they're being slandered. We don't know if they're true. They could be. But there's people who won't even ever get a job because someone decided they just really hate them that much that they're going to take their name and put it into the mud. All right, so if you could follow along with me, I have, as you can imagine, Proverbs has a lot to say about words. Proverbs. And so there's plenty more. I suggest you take the time, if you have time, to spend in this, because there are so many good things to talk about as far as words go. I'm not talking about swearing today. When I think about swearing, I always think about people always telling, either, I'm sure Pastor Lynn's heard this, but I don't want to swear in front of the pastor, like, oh, he's a pastor. Or, oh, we're in church, you can't say that. Guess what? I just talked about this in YouTube. You're the church. It doesn't matter if you're in a building or not. It should be the same. You go outside this building and swear, guess what? I may not see it. You're not getting away with it. As we're going to talk about today, truth prevails. God will see it. Anything you do in secret, there's no such thing as doing things in secret. That's a joke. You're not doing anything secret. You're not getting away with it. And don't ask me how far is too far. Far as what you say. You know what the bad words are. You know how far is too far. And you know certain things that make people angry. You know what gets under skin. And that's not what God wants us to do. He wants us to lift people up. He wants to bring life to them. And so those words that you can think of, and I know because I used to say them, because I used to play the game. It's confession time to my father, by the way. But I used to go to youth group, put on a face, go to church, put a face on, and when we were done with my friend Matt, we would drive away and we would just turn it on to the other switch. So I want you to know that God has really helped me with that. It's not a problem. God has really helped me with that. My word. I may say stupid things, but I do not do those things. All right, so let's talk about gossip. Oh, man. Sheila, she revealed a really good point this morning. We were going over my sermon a little bit. We're in a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody's business.
Exactly.
And you better be careful in this town because everybody's related. And so, small town gossip, man. That is a good point. I remember we went to, our school was really small. You're not getting away with anything. We're talking like just under like 200 students. Everybody knew who was engaged, dating, broke up, complicated, I don't know. Just everybody knew everything. It was, the people you didn't even really hang out with, you knew about them somehow. It just got through. Gossip is rampant, it's everywhere. It's also doing really well in Hollywood because you go to the Walmart and there's a whole section of just gossip magazines. And somebody's cheating on somebody and they're having their sixth baby or something, I don't know. But there's all kinds of stuff. But Proverbs 20:19, and gossip betrays confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. So these Proverbs are going to be really blunt today. This one's, gossip betrays confidence. You can't trust a guy. You can't trust a gossip. You can't, your secrets, don't. People that talk a lot, that's an evidence.
Yeah.
Don't share with them. They cannot be trusted. I would like, besides the gospel, I like to call them a storyteller. They love telling people stories. And sometimes, let's just say this, they're not getting much out of their life until they're in your life. It's like, get a life. They got your life, though. They have your life, and they're like, did you hear what happened? That's all they do. They've lost themselves. They decide they're going to be so invested in everybody else's life, but they're not invested in their own. They're not going to spend time. They're just so worried about everybody else. And every time, it's an addiction. Gossip is an addiction. And I try to squash it as soon as I hear it. If I hear somebody's name, no, I don't want to hear it. Squash it. Right away, because it gets worse. Because gossip can be partial truth or truth. And Trust me, they both hurt. And nobody likes when somebody talks behind their back. Nobody does. I'd rather, pet peeve of mine, if you want to know, if you've got a problem with me, you come to my face. I really appreciate that. I don't even want to hear from Pastor Lynn. Some people come to my wife and complain about me. I don't want to hear about it. No, they haven't. All right, I don't know. I thought you told me something. I heard it through the grapevine. Usually I don't hear, okay, people don't come to me, I hear it through the grapevine. There you go. I hear it from somebody else, I heard from somebody else, I heard from somebody else. You know that game. Gossip's love here, the juicy details cannot be trusted. And so when I'm talking about these things today, don't just think about, you can think about what's happened to you, but you may also be the gossip. You may have a problem with this. And understand when we do these things and we become these things, we're not just impacting the people around us, we're also affecting ourselves, because if you're a gossip and you know that, nobody wants to trust you. Nobody wants to tell you their secrets anymore, because you're going to go out and publish it. And now we got something called Facebook, and some people like to share other people's business on that, and that's tough. Now, the next one we're going to focus on is slander. Now, I know slander and gossip can go together, but I want to share because slander is not just happening behind people's back, it's happening straight to their face. And slander is happening a lot, I think, on Facebook. They may not mention names, but you know who they're talking about. And slander happens a lot. There's a lot. Our society has changed this big rating system. You know, we don't get 5 stars like a restaurant. We went to a 4.4 out of 5 restaurant yesterday with 500 reviews, so I was going to go. You know, that's good. That was good. And so there's people out there constantly slandering. I want to change the name of slander also backstabber. Backstabber. Proverbs 10:18 says, "Whoever conceals hatred with lying lips spreads slander is a fool."